Beating Alabama is no longer special.
This team doesn't play Alabama brand football.
Beating Nick Saban was an act of God. The Alabama football mystique is dead. The mystique was Nick Saban.
This team comes across like a West Coast team because they have a West Coast coach. They've got five-star players that aren't looking like five-star players. Plenty of discussion coming off of the glorious Labor Day weekend.
Glorious, Hutton.
It was awesome. College football was awesome. But, Chad, the mystique of Alabama football, you say, it's dead. Dead to rights.
Beating Alabama is no longer special. And I am here to definitively state this right now. Beating Nick Saban was an act of God. In 2022, Jonathan Hutton and I were in Knoxville when Tennessee took down Alabama and Nick Saban. That was a life-changing moment for Tennessee fans. It's understandable because most Tennessee fans just assumed they were never, ever going to beat the great Nick Saban. Yes, it's Alabama, but it's really Nick Saban. Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time, he brought into that Alabama mystique and he built it up to levels never before seen. Now that Kalen DeBoer is the head coach at Alabama, the mystique is dead. It's no longer special. Yes, they're a very talented, good SEC team, top half of the SEC for sure. And when you beat them, it is a big moment and it's important for your season. But we got to stop with the field storming when you beat a guy who's lost 4 times in 14 games to unranked opponents. It took Nick Saban 17 years as Alabama coach to lose 4 times to unranked opponents, most of that coming in year 1. Kalen DeBoer, it's not going well as the Alabama coach. Everyone now is searching for his buyout. It's close to $70 million. And Alabama fans all know what the buyout is right now. Big moment for FSU. I don't want to discredit anything that they've done, but we have to face the facts. The Alabama football mystique is dead. It's over for right now. The mystique was Nick Saban, and Nick Saban's no longer the coach of the Crimson Tide, Hutton, and for that reason, beating Alabama is big. It's no longer a God-changing, life-changing moment the way it was if you beat Nick Saban.
Oh, it looked like a program-changing moment for Florida State, though.
And that's where I'll give them some leniency. They went 2-10 a year ago.
Right.
So when you come out of the gates and beat a top 10 team, I understand the excitement and rushing the field. My plea for the rest of college football from here on out, if you beat Alabama at home, unless you're a group of 5 team or something, right? If you're an SEC team and you beat Bama at home, keep your ass in the stands and don't charge the field.
Well, so I still think Bama is going to be a good football team this year. They were good last year. They were knocking on the door of the college football playoff. But the mystique for me with Bama that's gone, and we saw this last year, and now it's a trend. This team doesn't play Alabama brand football. This team comes across like a West Coast team because they have a West Coast coach. They've been recruiting to the West now. They lost a lot of players when DeBoer got there. They play that style that can get you to the college football playoff, by the way. We saw that with Washington. But does it win in these types of atmospheres and moments? They don't play well on the road with Kalen DeBoer. They don't travel with a brand and a style that we know and respect. I nearly said love, but it's not like I love Alabama football, but I respect it because of you don't line up and say, you know what, we got to scheme up this play to beat this team today. Alabama lines up and whips your ass up front. And the offensive line play, one that we used to call like maulers that would just dominate the line of scrimmage. And when the going got tough, you turned around, you handed the football off, and you just got the first down, or you relied on captains to produce an 11-man roster on the field that kept its poise. This team's not there. We saw it last year here in Nashville whenever Vanderbilt beat them. They lose their cool. They don't possess the it factors, the difference-making type plays, game in, game out, where you just say, well, Alabama gets all the breaks. And you say that because, well, they create their own opportunities. This program right now is not doing that. Chad, it's not because of Ty Simpson. Like, it's not like he came out there and just had a horrible game. It's not like, they turned the football over 1 million times and you could just point to one thing or the other. I don't see they've got 5-star players that aren't looking like five-star players. And that is troublesome for a program that is always next man up. There's always a five-star behind the five. I don't see the five stars on the field that are always just missiles to the football. Like missed tackling, wrong angles. Those details are what made Saban's team so good and are what is being overanalyzed with DeBoer now. It's more than just, they're lazy. I'm not calling them lazy. I'm not calling them soft. But they're not as, they're not putting the banging hats and putting the helmets on the way they did in the line of scrimmage. They're not that team now. They look like your average SEC team. And that's the difference. That's why we're being zeroed in and focused on Bama not being Bama. And that's why Kalen DeBoer's not going to be the coach for very much longer.
Yeah.
Again, they're going to beat teams in the SEC this year. They're going to look great. And then they're going to turn around and have games where South Carolina last year should have won that game, didn't but then they go kick LSU's ass.
Yeah,
right. They're going to have this back and forth.
It's not Florida State losing to Georgia Tech a year ago and then losing to Boston College, then going 2-10.
Right.
Like, this Alabama team is going to keep it together and not do that. They're still an 8-4, 9-3 type team.
But that's a huge drop off.
Right. But my point is, when you go back-to-back years losing 4 games at Alabama, the Alabama that Kalen DeBoer inherited from Nick Saban,
yes,
they're not the same.
No.
This is not – I don't want Alabama fans to watch this clip or this show or this video and say, oh, my God, these guys have buried Alabama forever already. I'm not saying that. It's just it's different. Everything about that game felt different. You know what it felt like? The Vanderbilt win a year ago over Alabama. It was not a fluke.
No.
Vanderbilt physically manhandled Bama at times. They made the plays when necessary. Florida State's offensive front was dominating Alabama in this game. Tommy Castellanos was running all over the place. There was nothing fluky about this. In fact, the one fluky moment was the punt that hit a player that Alabama benefited from late in the game that gave them a chance, that went against Florida State, and they still could not cash in on it. Bama football is not dead. The mystique around Vanderbilt. Mystique around Vanderbilt football is different too. The mystique around Bama football is dead. And it's no longer there. Beating them is big. It's not special. And when I watch what Gus Malzahn can do against that Alabama defense, great Alabama defense loaded with 4- and 5-star players. And I do see the lack of effort. And everyone's highlighting the one play where the guy's jogging. You did not see that under Nick Saban. I'm sure we could go and freeze frame some moments where a player or two did this or that. But the inability to just shut up and play the game and play it play by play and dominate the guy across from you that Nick Saban's process produced at Alabama with superior players in almost every game they played, yes, but Alabama had the superior players on Saturday.
The results
didn't matter.
Yeah.
It did not matter, and to me, that's the big difference that I see with this Alabama team. Ty Simpson, I don't think he lost him the game.
No.
Offensive line play was bad. I also watched Ty Simpson, and I think, this is a guy I'm not trusting to go win me a game. He's a guy who doesn't lose games for you.
That's what they had last year.
And he could be good in that offense. But, there's a play late in that game on 4th down where he's rolling left, and he's got a first down and then some, and he tries to throw it and skips it to the guy where he could have easily, a lane in front of him, taken off and gotten a big first down that would have kept that game going.
When's the last time, though, Bama needed their quarterback to just take the ball and go win a game that wasn't a college football playoff game? Again, we're looking at the unranked losses here. Florida State's not going to be we look back at the end of the season. If they play like this, they're not going to be the unranked team.
No.
But, again, this is a premier matchup, week one, what we love. But it's, Ty Simpson shouldn't have had to go win that game.
No.
Especially if the defense is tackling well and running to the football and doing. Those are the X factors that pick up the rest of this program that just aren't there. Now, here's what they are too. Compare Florida State, compare Alabama to what Clemson has done. Clemson had a stretch where they won the national championship in 2016 and then 2018. They lost just 7 games across 6 seasons. 2 of those losses came in championship games to Bama and one against LSU. And then the stretch that ended in 2020, Clemson, they've now lost 15 games in 5 seasons. And that number is going to continue to grow now as this season unfolds. So you've got more games against nationally ranked opponents. They're 10-10. So now we get to see what Bama does against nationally ranked opponents moving forward instead of the unranked. Because, any program for the most part, if you're just flipping a coin and you come up with a random program across college football, you trade with Clemson all day. You take what Clemson's done. But it's not like they've had this massive success that we saw with Trevor Lawrence. Now what does DeBoer do? And the difference is DeBoer's taking over for Saban, and no one's had to take over the regime that is Clemson, right? So
Dabo went down on his own.
Right.
Their mystique died with him still as the head coach, and it was further proof of that Saturday night.
But now there's a level. I still think both teams are really good. Clemson's really good. But I don't know if they are – it's just not the same version and expected moxie that I have in my head of both programs.
Let's say I still think Alabama is a 3 or 4 loss team by season's end. Let's say they lose 4 again this year.
That's all it should.
Let's say they lose 5.
Oof.
Barring the bottom falling out, Hutton, I don't think they're going to fire Kalen DeBoer.
Okay.
And here's why. You do have to – it sounds silly because of all these dumb contracts that agents get for their clients,
right,
for coaches. But it is true that even at Alabama, you got to monitor what you're spending with buyouts now because your athletic department's actually paying players too. So you can't pay every past coach, go pay $10, $12 million for the next big coach you're going to get, sign some ridiculous contract with them with a ridiculous buyout, and pay your players. It's tougher to do all of that at one time. So I do think there's going to be more patience for a coach like Kalen DeBoer, not from the fans. But I'm saying from
media.
Alabama, let's say they lose 4 or 5, then it's going to be, let's come back next year and see if you can do better instead of pulling the trigger on a $69.5 million buyout after a year or 2.
There's always overreaction to week 1, especially the big marquee matchups. Here's Paul Finebaum on Get Up.
So if someone calls up your show today and says Nick Saban needs to unretire and return to Alabama and coach this team, would that be fact or fiction?
That would be fact. Bring him back. Get him off the game day set. Put him out there today. Don't waste a moment.
I mean, it was that bad?
It was that bad. This team is soft. They're undisciplined.
I mean, I don't really disagree with what he's saying about it was a bad performance for Alabama, and they looked bad in it. But Nick Saban's not, I don't think, coming back to rescue this team from Kalen DeBoer. That's also, it does, I get that Nick Saban lied to the media about he wasn't going to be the Alabama coach and all that. That does not feel like a Saban-esque move.
No.
To just say, yeah, I want this guy out of here. Let's get it done. I will say, watching him on game day, the frustration with Alabama grows and grows. Because once again, just like the Vandy game a year ago where he said, you have to really prepare for every SEC road game except Vanderbilt. Vandy. Then they lost. He was sort of running his mouth about Castellano, saying, they're ready, and this guy's going to not look good by the end of the game.
He knows how he would
handle saying that because how he would motivate his team with that.
Yep.
And Castellanos goes out there and does exactly what he said. And he was right. Saban could not save Alabama, and he wasn't there to save them. So I think Nick Saban's going to get more and more frustrated the more he watches this team.
Gary Myers is coming up. This episode brought to you by PricePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PricePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PricePicks, where it's good to be right. Chad and I, we are going to be right with our season-long predictions across the NFL and across college football. PricePicks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. PricePicks also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 and more states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. PricePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Chad, that's good for us.
Yep.
PricePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, you've got MasterCard, and more. And for quick and easy deposits into your account, you've got them this football season. PricePicks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half and doesn't return, PricePicks won't count it as a loss. Think about that. They will not count that as a loss. PricePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Chad, it's time to cash in this football season.
Yes, it is. Season-long projections on Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley available right now. Get it in before the season kicks off on Thursday night.
It's the best way to cash in this football season, which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your takes into cash all season long on PricePicks. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Joins millions of users. Sign up today. You do that by downloading the app. Use the code HOTMIC to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. That's code HOTMIC, HOTMIC, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PricePicks, it's good to be right. We're back with more straight after this.
This fall, you're not just watching the biggest game in college football.
You're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest a VIP treatment.
This is your shot
To punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course.
We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats.
And everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. Outkick.com/sweepstakes.
I love looking at the brackets there that are already so just jacked up after week one. At least it feels that way. Welcome back. Hot Mic, Hutton and Withrow here at OutKick.com.
That's why we love actual games starting.
Yeah. Got the, by the way, guys, can I get some more audio in the headset? That'd be great. The new YouTube channel that's out. Go check it out. Go to YouTube for
OutKick Hot Mic is what you search.
Easy to find. We appreciate everyone checking us out throughout the long weekend there as well. Love having our next guest on because there's so many topics you can go down based on his bio, like from covering the Cowboys, the Dallas Morning News. You've got the New York Daily News with a longtime writer, great covering the NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame selector, Manning versus Brady, the great book, and now Brady versus Belichick. Gary Myers joins us with the Dynasty debate, the book out coming up later this month. Gary, thanks for the time. Hope things are well.
Everything's going great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Not a shortage of topics with Bill Belichick right now.
Yeah, he kind of added to the conversation last night by, I guess you can safely say, or that he kind of bombed his debut, and now has people wondering if it's going to work. You know, it's kind of early to make that judgment, but certainly not what he was looking for.
You've covered Belichick for a long time in the league. The Belichick you see now, compared to the Belichick we all knew. I say knew because I don't see the same coach. Do you?
Well, I think it's easy to say that based on his last 4 years in New England and then, you know, what happened last night. But, you know, I think his downfall in New England was more about, you know, his personnel decisions than it was about his coaching. And now he stepped into college football at the most, you know, tumultuous time in its history with NIL and the transfer portal and having no experience in either, and surrounding himself with, you know, Mike Lombardi, who's never really been involved with that, and some of his coaches who have NFL experience. I mean, it's just a whole new arena for him. And, you know, frankly, at this point in his life, I don't know how well he's going to adjust. I'm not saying he won't, but it's not going to damage his legacy over what he did in 20 years in New England, but it's certainly not going to add to it.
When you write a book like this, a lot of your subject material, it depends sometimes on how willing the subject is to talk and to tell stories and to tell their side of the story. How was Bill Belichick in the interview you conducted with him for this book in terms of being forthcoming about his career?
Yeah, I know I have a lot of experience dealing with Bill. I've known him since 1979, which just shows you how old I am too. But he doesn't like to do sit-down interviews. I did a book, Once a Giant, a couple of years ago. He loves talking about the Giants. He was still coaching for the Patriots with the Patriots at the time, and he insisted on doing it by email. That he says, I'm much better on email than I am in person. So we did it by email, and I sent him 15 questions, and he was great. Quite frankly, I didn't think he was going to participate with me on this book because I didn't think it was going to be a subject that he really wanted to get involved in. And, you know, I told him I would meet him with him at Chapel Hill. I'd go meet with him in Nantucket, wherever he wanted to meet. And he goes, "Can we do it on email again?" And I go, "Really, Bill?" And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm better on email." So we did it on email. But I thought, the answers he gave me in the book were really forthcoming again. And he's very thoughtful when he does it like this. I much prefer doing things in person. But, if that was going to be the way I can get him, I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity. And I thought he was pretty insightful and, like I said, forthcoming, especially towards the end when he thought, Brady made a great decision going to Tampa because he wasn't able to surround him in New England anymore with personnel that he can win with. Overlooking a little bit the fact that he kind of pushed him out of New England and the fact he couldn't surround him with personnel that he can win with was more Belichick's fault than Brady's, obviously.
Gary, what's their relationship really like right now? Because the last time we saw them together was the Brady roast.
Well, I saw them together after that. And that was when they retired Brady's number in June of 24. Yeah, at Gillette Stadium, and you'd think they were best friends that night. Now, obviously, they were in front of 60,000 people. They weren't going to show any animosity. But I think that in this case, that time has helped heal things for them. There's no question. There was a lot of friction. It was bad at the end. I think Tom had just grown tired of the way that Bill had treated him. But, the 4 years apart, I think, has helped give them perspective on what they accomplished together. And I think they're fine now. Tom reached out to Belichick after he got named part owner in Las Vegas when they were hiring a coach. Now, it remains to be clarified, whether or not that phone call was, "Hey, Bill, I know you just signed up in North Carolina, but we'll buy your way out. Do you want to come coach the Raiders?" Or whether he was just saying, "What's the best way to put together an organization?" Neither one of them has really addressed that, so I'm not sure what that conversation was like. But just the fact that Tom reached out to Bill during that period of time, I think, is an indication that they're okay. They're okay now.
Gary, I know you had a chance to talk extensively to Devin McCourty and got into politics possibly dividing the locker room with those Patriots teams, the MAGA hat behind Tom Brady, Bill Belichick's friendship with Donald Trump, January 6th, and then something happening right after that with Belichick and Trump. How much did that divide the Patriots locker room, and was it something that was outwardly discussed with the head coach, or did everyone remain in silent about their objections of those guys supporting Donald Trump?
That's a really good question. The MAGA hat, I believe, the election was in 16, so the MAGA hat was either during the 15th season or earlier in the 16th season. I don't quite remember. Apparently, Robert Kraft gave Tom that hat. It didn't come directly from Trump, but he put it in his locker. I saw it there in the times that I visited. And then when he started getting criticized about it, Tom took it down. Now, he has since said that any relationship we had with Trump was strictly personal, wasn't based on politics. And, Tom is smart enough, not to take sides in, really, volatile or potentially dividing type issues. Kraft relationship with Trump had gone back years, but really intensified after his wife died, after Kraft's wife died in 2011. He said that Trump was one of the few friends that he had that was just incredibly supportive and reached out all the time to him to get him involved socially, to try to get him out of his house during a very depressing period of time in his life. And he never forgot that. And then, in 2016, when Trump, wound up running for president, Kraft was supportive. But I think, Kraft being a lifelong Democrat and living in the bluest of blue states, I don't think he ever really lined up with Trump's politics. It was more based on a friendship. And at one point, I thought it was a funny line. He said it was like having a frat brother in the White House. And that's how he looked at Trump, more in a friendship thing. With Belichick, I'm not sure where it started, but, Belichick's relationship with Trump, extended to the point where he wrote him that letter supporting him, that Trump wound up reading the night before the 2016 election, with Belichick's permission. So now you spin it forward to the January 6th insurrection, if you want to call that. And around that period of time, Trump had named Belichick to be the recipient of, I mean, you guys might know better than me. Was it like the
Presidential Medal of Freedom, I think?
Right.
Is what it was? Yeah.
Right. And it was supposed to be awarded like a week or so after the January 6th incident. And that, I think, was the culmination of the feeling in the locker room, like, wait a minute. Belichick is always telling us that no distractions, everything is about the team. And here he is getting involved with a president who was being, blamed for this insurrection. And so Devin McCourty, who one of the more intellectual, thoughtful players I've ever dealt with, called Belichick up and told him, you can't be accepting that. Now, the season was already over for the Patriots. They had just been eliminated in the playoffs. But he said, this is going to have a bad carryover effect, and you need to think twice about that. And Belichick said, well, as a matter of fact, I've already decided I'm not going to accept that award because I know how you guys feel about that. So I think politics was a not overriding, but certainly hung over the Patriots from Trump's first election, through January 6th, and the fact that they navigated their way through that period of time and still won a Super Bowl or a couple of Super Bowls after that, between the first election and then January 6th, I think says a lot for the way Belichick was able to keep the locker room together and separate politics from football, even though there were a lot of players there who were questioning what his motives were.
A better professional relationship with Brady than Belichick for you, or is it about the same?
Well, interestingly, for me, I always had a great relationship with Brady.
Because you had the book Brady versus Manning as well. So
right.
We discussed that book with you as well. I'm
right.
Curious, like the dynamic there.
Yeah, I mean, he was great with me on the Brady Manning book.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with him. Belichick would not sit down with me.
Yeah.
For that book. In fact, I was in Foxborough one day to meet with him. I think it was during a mini camp, and Teddy Bruschi, one of his former players, was there with ESPN, and the time slot that they had reserved for me with Belichick, they gave to Bruschi, and the way it's explained to me was, nothing personal. It's just whatever Teddy Bruschi asks Bill to do, he'll do. And I said, all right, I'm going to be here all day. I'll pick another time. No, he's just not going to do it. And I was not happy about that. Let's put it like that. Then he helped me with my Giants book. And for the Brady Belichick book, I could not get Tom to cooperate, which really surprised me. I tried, even went to his father, who I have a great relationship. And Tom's father is very outspoken in my book. And he texted Tom, and he actually sent me a copy of the text that he sent to Tom. And Tom either didn't respond to his dad about that or just didn't want to do it. I have emails for Tom. I went through Fox. I just don't think he wanted any part of it. And I tried not to, again, it's hard not to take things personally in this business when people that you kind of count on don't cooperate with you. I just would have liked the courtesy of an email from Tom saying, hey, thanks for reaching out, but I don't want to touch this topic. But he didn't even do that. But I know that he got my message that I wanted to talk to him. So, but I'd say overall, my relationship with Brady over the years has been far superior to Belichick. If you want to go by recency, what's happened recent, then I'd say my relationship with Belichick is better because he's helped me out on my last two books.
So what's the relationship like with Jerry Jones? Because I got to ask you, with your time in the league and being there and covering that team back in the day,
yeah.
What we're seeing now with the trade of Micah Parsons and how he's handled the negotiations publicly with the agent, is this Jerry being Jerry, or is this a head scratcher for you just like it was for us?
Yeah, I'm really kind of confused about what Jerry's thought process was on this. Now, I will say this. I've known Jerry among NFL media longer than anybody because I was still in Dallas when he bought the team, and I was there for another 3 months before I moved back to New York. And so I covered that incredibly fascinating period of time and got to know Jerry fairly well in those 3 months and have remained in touch with him over the years. I did a Cowboys book in 2018 that I will tell you this, I talked to him on a Saturday. He gave me his home number. Now, if you ever dealt with Jerry, you know you can ask him one question and then kind of just put your feet up on the desk and let him go. I talked to him for 2 hours that day, literally did have my feet up on my desk, had the tape recorder going, and I think I got in 5 questions in 2 hours.
You got lucky with the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I mean, he would have kept going, but I felt bad on Saturday, taking up his time. I don't know what he did here. I don't really understand. There's got to be more to this story than has come out so far because, although, his personnel acumen has been questioned and for good reason, his business sense has always been, the strongest part of his game, so to speak. And why he wanted to circumvent the agent on this, I don't know. Why he even talked contract with Parsons without the agent there, I don't know. I'm not aware that he did end arounds on agents when he did the Dak Prescott contract or C.D. Lamb or Zach Martin or any of the big contracts he's done the last few years. It just doesn't make sense to me. A 26-year-old guy who is your best player, to trade him for what figures to be 2 first-round picks that are late in the round, and then, defensive tackle, who is a good player. He's been a Pro Bowl player, but certainly not, considered an elite player. He's a good locker room guy. I don't get it. I don't understand. That's why I'm saying there's got to be more to this than we're aware of. Maybe they felt Parsons wasn't a good locker room guy, that he was selfish. I mean, again, maybe the tipping point was the last preseason game when walking into the stadium down the hallway, eating nachos, and then lying on the trainer's table during the course of the game. Teams, especially a team that's been valued at $13 billion, and cash flow is not necessarily a problem for Jerry. I don't really know what the breaking point was on this one.
It's been the preseason's great debate.
Yep.
It's been Jerry Jones versus Micah Parsons. And I know both of those guys would participate in a book with you, Gary, for sure.
That's right.
They would sit down with you all day
And we
long.
look forward to reading this book for
Brady
sure.
versus Belichick, the dynasty debate from Gary Myers, the best-selling author, available on September 16th. Thank you for the time, and we will catch up soon with you, no doubt.
Well, thanks a lot, guys, for having me on. And anybody who's interested in ordering it now, I just want to throw in there, you can get it on Amazon or wherever you order the books online. So I just say this. I had a great time writing this book because so many of those Patriot players who were very well known were very, very honest and forthcoming with me about their feelings about both Brady and Belichick and how that whole thing evolved over the years.
Well, your library speaks for itself, so I can't wait to read it.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
There he is. Gary Myers has been our guest.
A lot of Patriots players, just not Tom Brady.
Not
As
Tom,
we just heard.
not old Tommy.
Tom did not
B.
participate.
It's not personal with Gary. I think it's personal with Belichick.
Yeah,
personally.
I just think he probably, I can't speak for him, but he's tired of either talking about it or feels like whatever he says is going to come across as him bragging about how it's gone since. I don't know, but would definitely love to have heard his perspective.
There's certainly an opinion
On the
there.
Jerry Jones, Micah Parsons, I read a lot of people who've covered the Cowboys for years over the weekend.
Yeah.
And they're saying, look, like it or love it or hate it, the response from Jerry Jones was they met about leadership and about locking him up long term. They had a private conversation about it. He was all in. He felt like he was his leader. They agreed to the parameters of a contract. He shook hands on it. And when you shake hands with Jerry Jones, that's the deal. And then he went back and told his agent what he had done with Jerry Jones. They said, hell no, I'm getting involved in this and doing that. And the moment that Micah Parsons reneged on that handshake and said, my agent now has to get involved, we don't have a deal, Jerry Jones was out.
Well,
on Micah Parsons as the leader of his team.
I agree with what you're saying.
I think there's probably some validity that was the case with Jerry Jones, whether people agree or disagree.
Also great business by the Cowboys to get that deal with a handshake in front of him because it would have locked him up for 6 years.
Yeah.
And means he's 30 whenever his next opportunity to hit the open market would be. in this case, he's, 28 the next time he's a free agent, 29? I mean, that's a big difference.
Got another big contract coming.
Yeah, another payday, another signing bonus. We discussed Bill Belichick and UNC and what we saw last night.
Not good.
That's next here on Hot Mic.
This fall, you're not just watching the biggest game in college football.
You're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest a VIP treatment.
This is your shot
To punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course.
We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats.
And everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. Outkick.com/sweepstakes.
You could be at one of the top games in college football. Maybe you could watch the final game of Kalen DeBoer's tenure.
Yeah,
Who knows?
could be the end.
How this goes. But it is going to be a marquee matchup. Alabama and Georgia. It is quite the experience. It's the ultimate game day experience through OutKick. You can sign up by scanning the QR code on your screen. Go to outkick.com/sweepstakes. Everything's taken care of for you. Travel, get 2 tickets to the game, you got airfare, lodging, all of it. And Chad, it's in Athens, it's Georgia, and it's Alabama, Georgia.
It's one of the great college towns in America, and it's going to be one of the great atmospheres of the college football season. So definitely register to win this one because it's one you're not going to want to miss.
That Belichick debut for UNC, if we see the type of performance we see last night for Carolina, it's going to be a long season of just getting hit over the head and inundated with Belichick and Carolina Blue for no reason.
Well,
because they have like 7 or 8 more games that are currently scheduled on ESPN.
They gave that game last night way more care than they gave Miami Notre Dame on Sunday night, which was a far bigger matchup.
You're right.
They had Teddy Bruschi on site. Randy Moss joined them at one point on site. You got Belichick dapping it up with McAfee and the guys and Saban on set. They put so many resources in ESPN, I'm saying, into that build-up of that broadcast. Hour-long pregame show, hour-plus long pregame for North Carolina TCU, for UNC to go on the field, march right down the damn field, 83 yards, go up 7-0. Place is alive. It's electric. They go up to the suites. You got Michael Jordan up there with Roy Williams and Lawrence Taylor and Mia Hamm, and you got 24-year-old Jordan Hudson right there next to Randy Moss.
Hulu's happy.
And they just fell flat on their face from that point on. The next 4 series, I think, were 3 and out.
3 and outs.
For North Carolina's offense. Gio Lopez looked really bad and eventually gets hurt.
And that defense.
And they got to go to Max Johnson, who I didn't know was still playing.
The defense in the open field, Chad.
College football.
I didn't know Max Johnson was still playing.
I thought he was a coach. Like, I saw him in pads, and I was thinking, like, oh, that's cool. They let the quarterback's coach, assistant coach, wear pads.
Must be a GA.
Is Max Johnson 28 years old? I seriously feel like he was at LSU 10 years ago.
Let's look him up. That's a good question.
I feel like he's the same age as his dad, Brad Johnson, somehow, by a mystery of science.
He's only 24. He just turned 24.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But then I'm watching, I'm like,
Brad's only 56.
Why is he not the starter, too? Like, he looked, even when he was in, he looked better than Gio Lopez.
It'll be a long year, man.
It was really bad.
The way they're tackling their pursuit angles and just like the lack of speed in the secondary.
Yeah, look, it's one game. They've got 70 new players, so you could expect the unexpected. They got a chance to get better, and they could have a decent season and all that. And we're going to say, boy, Bill Belichick did a lot with a little this year. But, I mean, if one game's any indication, is there anyone who's done more to destroy their legacy if he goes down the way he did post-Brady, and then the 24-year-old girlfriend leading him to North Carolina and not doing a thing there? Because I'm sorry, talking about we're going to be the 33rd NFL team looks silly.
Oh, it's stupid.
Looks really silly right now.
Yeah.
Again, one game. I'm not firing the guy yet. I'm not saying it's going to be a complete failure, but they're 0 for 1. They're 0 for 1 with those tests.
Like, talking with some people from that went there, and the very close program told me, like, hey, they don't really know what they have this year. Going into this game, they didn't really know what to expect. Not talking about Carolina. They didn't know much about Carolina. They're talking about their own team, and it looked like a team that was ready to go.
I
mean, they
watching
looked just
Josh
fine.
Hoover at quarterback, I could see why allegedly Tennessee offered him millions of dollars to come in after Nico left. He looked really good.
And he stayed.
For millions, I'm sure, at TCU too.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if he got a raise there.
Yeah, no, he may have taken a slight, and I love that. That's the way it should be.
I
Make
agree.
the decision best for you, even if it's not the most money right now.
Well, Arch Manning's making the most. It's not like he's going to be taking less this week because of his performance, but man, what a downer. What a tough opener, by the way, for Texas to go on the road and play. But number one in the country, all the hype, last name Manning, and we see that type of performance. Way off the mark, unsettled, missing wide open receivers, very flat. Just that's how I would describe it. Just very flat and very average for a quarterback that going into the game was the leader in Vegas for the Heisman Trophy. No. That's not happening. Not against an Ohio State defense that was ready to come out and play. I mean, it was an intriguing game, but as far as the highlight reel is concerned, Arch Manning put up nothing.
No. And that goal line stand was a man's stand.
That was it.
By Ohio State, I'm thinking. Because I'm screaming, sneak it. Sneak's the best play right here.
You love that play.
And he got absolutely nothing, got stoned by that Ohio State defensive front. Arch Manning is doing Warby Parker eyeglasses spots nationally during the breaks of his own college football game. That's the level of celebrity this guy is.
Eli's all over
before
his
he's ever been the main starter at Texas.
Yep.
He was not good. With Arch, too, like, he's not inviting this on himself. It's just because of the name. But he's also 0 for 1. And 1 for 1, Matt Patricia adjusting the college game way better than his former boss, Bill Belichick. That defense was lights out for Ohio State. And Texas's defense was lights out. 203 yards total for Ohio State in that game. Julian Sayin looks like a good passer. But Texas's defense really stymied Ohio State all day, too. So, look, both those teams are elite. Both those teams are going to score a ton of points on teams throughout the year. Their defenses are really, really good. They're going to be in the national championship mix. But tough start for Arch Manning. I mean, it took him until, 5 minutes left in the game to get any type of rhythm going offensively?
Yeah, it's not the nerves. Plenty of nerves. I think everybody would be nervous like that. But shaky mechanics, just unsettled. And that's the defense you face right out of the chute.
And what we know about those Mannings, they're just athletes that can't pass, right? That's what they're known for. Just runners, basically, at the quarterback position. That's what Arch Manning looked like in that game. Some of the best plays were him just taking off out of the pocket.
Man, in the post-game reaction, was it, let's see, you've got anything from just brutal to he's not a starter to, just shaky, he's going to improve. It's the Ohio State defense. And
he's going to be fine.
I think the improvement's going to be fine. I'm with you.
Did we talk too much about him, though? Of course, because he's a Manning.
Well,
was he overhyped? Yeah, there was no way that he was going to be underhyped.
And they're number
because
one.
of his last game. The Heisman Trophy talk, all premature. But again, I give Arch Manning credit because he's the one telling everyone, why are you talking about me? I haven't done anything. I haven't accomplished anything. So none of this is on Arch Manning. Right, the fact Paul Finebaum says he's the greatest college quarterback since Tim Tebow, that's not Arch Manning's fault. He's not the one saying that. He knows he has a lot to work on. He's going to get better and better. Texas will be absolutely fine. They're going to be in the mix. Ohio State, as we've seen. Has anyone done more to rehabilitate their image of a guy who can't win the big game more than Ryan Day's run he's on right now?
He's ruining it, though, with the triple nipple polo that he wore.
That was something.
Just letting it fly now. He's got the rosy cheeks and the triple nipple.
Yeah. Is it a nipple ring, or is what people are suspecting?
Is it a nipple ring, or is it just like two huge moles next to his nipple?
I don't know what's going on. Trip nip?
That's what I call it. I like a triple nipple.
Yeah.
Just like high beams on a back row.
Does Tyler have a report on that? Has he seen Ryan Day shirtless before?
I think he's probably sporting the nipple ring.
Are we staring down a trip nip situation?
All of a sudden, they go from wanting to can the guy to everyone's getting their nipples pierced.
Tyler refuses to even show it.
Everyone's getting their nipples pierced now. Look at this. I mean,
we will not disparage Ohio State this way.
It could be a nipple ring, but I mean, to me, it looks like two huge moles next to a nipple.
I thought it was it Antonio Brown that posted this originally too, which is so funny. I think it's a nipple ring. That looks like the bar and the two sides of it going through the nipple.
But the other, he just has one nipple ring?
Yeah, I think he didn't want to go through the other one. I have one fork burn on my arm. I didn't go with the second. The matching on the other
too
side.
Painful, so he just keeps
right.
the,
I was like,
keeps the bar in there.
I didn't think this was going to look this bad, so I didn't go with the other. I wanted to try it out first. This is a starter kit nipple ring, is what this is.
You're ready to go as a head coach.
Test it out.
The nipples are hard, all 4 of them.
Do you think that he pierced his nipple in front of his team to show toughness? Remember how Jackie Sherrill cut the nuts off a bull, castrated a bull?
Oh yeah, castrated a bull
in front of his team. To get them fired up.
At least though you've got
when he was at Texas A&M.
At least though, Kalen DeBoer is wearing like the dry fit shirt underneath the polo, the Alabama polo. Maybe he's trying to hide his triple nipple. At least the confidence level of Ryan Day's gone from that to now just letting them fly.
There's a lot of bad looks.
I want everyone to know that I've got the nipple ring.
There's a lot of bad looks in college football. I'll give one guy credit.
Including this one.
Yes. I'll give one guy credit for being at the top of the style mountain in college football.
Go ahead.
The guy on the opposite sideline, Steve Sarkisian, always well-dressed.
Yep.
Like whatever he's wearing and the pants he's wearing and the shoes, it's a really good fit for Steve Sarkisian.
McConaughey probably picks it out for him.
Yeah. But you know what? We're not paying college football coaches millions of dollars to look good on the sideline. We're paying him to win damn college football games. And that's what Ryan Day, that's all he's done.
Ryan Day's winning.
That's all he's done recently. Win over Tennessee, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, Notre Dame, and Texas again since that loss to Michigan. But
Michigan.
As Dave Portnoy will remind everyone, Michigan still owns Ohio State.
Well, we'll dive into that.
We're going to dive into that later in the week.
Yeah, the WWE-esque Dave Portnoy.
Right.
Plus the
shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
The road goes through Ann Arbor. Oh, we're back at it for the Wednesday edition. Hope you'll join us right here for Hot Mic here at OutKick.com, 11 a.m. Eastern.